Pit bull. Just the name can throw some people into rants about what a horrific breed they think it is, or shudder with fear at the thought of being bitten or mauled by one. But pit bulls have been singled out for far too long, and laws banning the breed itself from ever being owned won't end the problem. It won't end illegal pit bull fighting rings. It won't end dogs being abused and poorly trained and taught to fight. It won't end the fact that any dog can become any large dog can become a killer, but any dog can attack without provocation, from anything as small as a Chihuahua up to a Great Dane. The difference is large dogs, because they are large, and because when large dogs attack, there's going to be a higher risk for someone being injured, potentially even fatally injured. In recent years, pit bulls have gained more than just a foothold in public awareness. Unscrupulous breeding and negative media attention have resulted in many apartment complexes, neighborhoods, and even countries imposing bans on pits and pit mixes, citing them as inherently dangerous to the public. Pit bulls often attract the worst kind of owners, people who are only interested in these dogs for fighting or protection. While pit bulls were once considered especially non-aggressive to people, their reputation has changed, thanks to unscrupulous breeders and irresponsible owners. And because the pit bull population has increased so rapidly, shelters now struggle to deal with an overflow of image-plagued, hard-to-place dogs. I'm going to pause for a few seconds, and I'm going to show you some pictures of the horrific treatment that pit bulls have experienced, whether because of pit bulls being forced to fight each other or being abandoned because no one wants them. The reason I am pausing to show you these pictures, and I warn you, some are very graphic and very words can't describe, so please be prepared.
You're in the arms of the angel, you find some comfort here.
Now, some of these images you've seen are quite hard to stomach. I've seen shows where they have rescued dogs that were set on fire to make them basically more mean. People who breed, who want pit bulls to fight, literally set them on fire to make them both immune to pain and be meaner. This is the kind of treatment that pit bulls have faced as a breed. Now, the pit bull breed makes up about 5 to 9% of the United States dog population. In 2007, there were about 72 million dogs in the United States. This statistic is provided by the American Pet Products Manufacturers Association. That's between 3.6 million and 3.6 and 6.9 million pit bull breeds in the United States. Odds are, no matter who you are or where you live people that own dogs. Regardless of what the breed type, dog awareness and owner awareness is good to have. My purpose for this speech is to show everyone that despite pit bulls' nature and breed, there are better answers than to just ban and or make owning a pit bull a felony charge. Felony charge, you say? Why would it become a felony charge to own a dog? That's absurd. In Texas, recently, they actually tried to pass legislation that would make owning a pit bull breed a felony charge. Now you look back at the statistic that there are nearly 7 million pit bulls in the United States. What if other states follow suit? What if that legislation had been passed and other states follow suit and start to make owning a pit bull for any reason, whether it's a friendly dog or fighting, any reason, a felony charge? Those 7 million dogs, what's going to happen to them? Are they going to suddenly also pass something to allow mass murder of dogs? What are 7 million dogs going to suddenly do out on the street ownerless because suddenly it's a felony to own them? They're already overpopulated now. What's going to happen when they're living even more without ownership, without proper training, in the wild, able to breed with other dogs, and it would just I can't begin to explain how out of control that situation would just get worse. For a brief history of the pit bull and what they were bred for, I'm sure many people wonder, where did they even come from? You've heard all sorts of myths and stories. Pit bulls are descendants of the original English bull baiting dog, a dog that was bred to bite and hold bulls, bears, and other large animals around the face and head. Bulldogs were bred to hang on without releasing their grip until the animal was exhausted from fighting and from loss of blood. When baiting large animals was banned in the 1800s, people then started to fight their dogs against each other instead. As everyone knows, for some reason, it's human nature to have this desire to watch things fight. We watch people bash each other's skulls in on wrestling or on boxing. People enjoy watching this stuff. So they found another outlet for it. As the sport of dog fighting developed, enthusiasts bred a lighter, more athletic canine. These dogs made their way to North America, the ancestors of today's pit bulls. Pit bulls were not used for fighting. Pit bulls that were not used for fighting were considered ideal family pets, affectionate, loyal, and gentle with children. Serious problems started when these dogs gained the attention of people looking for a macho dog. And to meet their demands, unscrupulous and uncaring breeders are producing puppies that were not only aggressive to other dogs, but also to people. Yes, statistics point out that they are a breed that can move toward fighting, but they aren't the only breed that fights. These findings were confirmed in a 2009 report published in the Journal of Forensic Sciences. The authors of that report wrote, vicious dog owners reported significantly more criminal behaviors than other dog owners, and they were ranked higher in sensation-seeking and primary psychopathy. Yes, statistics point that they are a breed that can lean toward fighting, but they aren't the only breed that fights. Despite statistics, there are better ways to take care of the problem than making owning pit bulls a felony. But advocates of the ban suggest that dog bite statistics speak louder than temperament tests. According to a study conducted by Merritt Clifton, editor of Animal People, pit bulls are responsible for a higher percentage of dog bites than most other dogs. Clifton argues that the humane community does not encourage pumas for cat adoption because it is clearly understood that accidents with a puma are frequently fatal. For the same reason, it is sheer foolishness to encourage people to regard pit bull terriers as just dogs like any other, no matter how much they may behave like other dogs under ordinary circumstances. That is a bit absurd. Initially, pit bulls were trained to obey people, just like any other breed. They are trained to be around people. To compare them to pumas is a bit absurd. Pumas are wild animals that have never lived with humans, as far as in a symbiotic obeying area. Pumas live in the wild. You can't train a puma to stand. Why would you compare pit bull terriers to pumas? If a pit bull and the owner both have proper training, there is no reason to think that they're going to suddenly attack people without provocation. But even then, accidents happen. Dogs do freak things just like people do freak things, and people are supposed to have higher intelligence than dogs. In conclusion, yes, pit bulls can be aggressive dogs, but with awareness and education, it should help. It's a better answer than banning a breed or putting an entire species down. Compare this to other types of murder. On dogsite.org, they are quoted as putting, in the 8-year period from 2005 to 2012, pit bulls killed 151 Americans, about one citizen every 19 days. Is that good? No. That's probably about, that's not all, but that's also not all of Best Buy dogs. And if you look at it in the bigger picture, how many people are people killing? People killing people. In 2011 alone, the statistics that I have gathered suggest there's upwards of 14,000 people were murdered in that 1 year alone. You're comparing a breed of dog that over 8 years, because of various attacks in a country where there's nearly 7 million pit bulls, 151 of those dogs killed people over 8 years. 151 out of 7 million. People kill people every day. Yet, why has it become such a larger stigma on this one type of animal breed? This one type of dog is suddenly being singled out, and people are not looking at the big picture anymore. Yes, they are a dangerous dog, but there are ways. Just like anything, there's risk, and just like anything, there's awareness and education that can help prevent these from happening. We can't turn back time and make it so pit bulls never existed. Punishing the entire breed for what a few have done is not the answer. It's something like this bill that they tried to pass in Texas that would make owning pit bulls for everyone a felony charge. What would happen to the pit bull population? Would you really advocate the murder of hundreds of literally millions of pit bulls, most of which never harmed a hair on anyone, because of the few hundred that did? The few hundred that did over a course of 8 years. What can you do? Visit the ASPCA Advocacy Center to keep up to date on dogfighting legislation in your state. Adopt a pit bull and let your perfect pooch be an ambassador for the breed. If your local shelter is facing a pit bull dilemma, volunteer to help keep adoptable pit bulls and pit mixes mentally and physically fit by exercising them or taking 2 obedience classes. You can also lead a chew toy drive at work to collect hard rubber playthings to keep them busy, or help create a fundraiser to support a free sterilization program for pit bulls in your community. The best way to deal with the most humane way to deal with this pit bull epidemic, this pit bull problem, is not to ban them. It is to help them, to make people realize that they need training, not just the dog. The people who own pit bulls need training, the dog needs training, they need care, they need attention. They do not need to be mistreated, they do not need to be murdered, they do not need to be banned. Thank you.